Whenever planning something to achieve in future, there is one undeniable fact. Things will change. Or to say it with the words of David Pardy in his book Introducing Leadership, change is inevitable, survival is optional. Immediately after I have read those words, dozens of examples came in my mind where I faced these circumstances during my professional career as a project manager. That's why I've chosen Stop Managing and Start Leading Your Projects as topic for this screencast. My name is Reinhard Moser and I hope you will enjoy watching this video. When it comes to leadership, we might intentionally think of hierarchical structures. But I want to approach the topic from my own experience as a project manager, as well as from my work as a conductor of ensembles of volunteers. Let me start with an example out of my own working experience. For more than 10 years, I worked mainly as a project manager, being responsible for the introduction and implementation of new IT systems in an international context. My studies in management and IT and further trainings in project and change management were the basis being able to do this. I've practiced different project management and change management approaches. The rather traditional ones based on the waterfall model and trendier agile methods like Scrum or rapid prototyping. I do not want to go into further details of project management methods. I just want to outline some similarities I experienced. Some of you might know this or a similar picture illustrating obstacles and misunderstandings when planning and implementing a project. Now, regardless which project management approach you choose, this really happens. Always. People misunderstand something or interpret it totally different. Requirements are changing, budget get decreased, etc. Now you will say, yeah, we all know that. We are aware of that. This is nothing new. And indeed, also the companies I worked for had own project management offices, which provided guidelines and templates on how to implement a project. They gave advices on how to deal with changes. Whenever a change appeared, a project manager had to document it, had to seek for approvals from different stakeholders, had to adopt milestone plans, etc. At a certain point, time and the budget is used up, and the result has nothing to do with that what the customer needs. But what we have are thousands of documents, formulas and emails where we justify why we have done it that way. That we have an approval for every single step and change we performed. This ends up in a huge frustration, although the project itself was executed within given guidelines and policies. And what I have realized, and this is the most disastrous consequence, is that employees who are often working in such projects are not willing anymore to invest their whole capabilities, to exceed expectations, to give 100%, as it might be useless in the end. So, how to deal with that? Well, first and foremost, we have to agree on what project success is. And let me give you another example here. You are a conductor of an orchestra, and you are asked to perform a concert 1 year ahead. You choose the pieces to play, organize and hand out the sheets, doing the rehearsals needed, etc. The musicians practice their songs on their own and in groups. Obstacles like unforeseen difficulties with a piece, changing musicians and so on are handled professionally by doing extra rehearsals, hiring new people and so on. Those are all the things under direct control. Traits and skills of the musicians can be trained, the organizing stuff, the manageable things. But there are other critical success factors, like the sound quality of the concert hall, the mood of the musicians and the audience, is even the weather can have influence on performance quality. Just a few weeks before performance date, the building where the performance should take place burns down. The event organizer decides to relocate the event to another building, to a room with bad acoustic characteristics, with less space on stage, with bad lighting conditions. Well, as a professional project manager, you can deal with that. You smaller down the orchestra a little bit, organize your own lamps, and everybody tries to give the best on stage. The customer wanted to have a concert, the customer got a concert. Well, all are frustrated. The visitors are angry because of the bad sound quality, the musicians do not feel indemnified for their hard work, the event organizer and the conductor are facing bad public response. Of course, this is an extreme example, but what I want to outline is the question, is it always a success to deliver that what initially was requested? In that case, wouldn't it have been a much greater success to do a charity event for the fireman who was killed in accident when trying to quench the burning concert hall, although this has nothing to do with the original intention? I would define project success as the match of customer needs when the project ends, and not necessarily those which were initially recorded. And here, leadership comes in place. As there are obviously many uncertainties in reaching such a project success, it is much more important to achieve a high commitment and involvement of stakeholders to the project than just to manage things. As Peter Nordhaus defines leadership as a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. While researching the topic, I was surprised that there is a huge amount of literature regarding leadership, change management, and change leadership. But there exists nearly nothing which brings project managers' leadership skills into context with changing environments. An empirical study reflecting the importance of transformational leadership on project success, performed by the Project Management Institute in 2005, showed that project manager who exercises the transformational leadership behavior of inspirational motivation enjoys project success. Inspiration is defined as inspiring and empowering followers to enthusiastically accept and pursue challenging goals and a mission. Another investigation, performed by Jennifer Kran and Francis Hartman in 2006, shows a gap between what leadership skills are necessary and what project leaders actually do. Although it is known that active listening, decisiveness, ethical behavior count to the most important skills, project managers spend the most of their time in planning, communicating to this project sponsor, and monitoring and controlling issues. We have seen that leadership skills are essential for gaining commitment and involvement to overcome a challenging and changing environment. But on the other hand, common practice shows that in most cases classical management skills are much higher of importance. And this is also a key message of Rodney Turner and Ralph Müller, who did a literature review on the success factors on projects of project manager. They say that literature on project success factors has largely ignored the impact of the project manager and his or her leadership style and competence on project success. John Cotter, one of the most famous researchers in the field of leadership and change these days, gives an appropriate overview of differences between management and leadership. I will try to set these central statements into context of project management. I start with the outcome, the result of a project. As overstated in the orchestra example, instead of making a compromise and doing the concert under bad conditions, it can be much more successful for all stakeholders doing something completely different, which of course is a dramatic change. to ensure that such a change is accepted and supported by all stakeholders, a ready-for-change environment has to be established along the whole project timeline. When planning the project agenda, management responsibility is to establish detailed steps, timelines and budgets, as well as to allocate these resources to make things happen. A leader additionally establishes the direction by developing a vision of the future and emphasizes the necessity of changes needed to achieve that vision. In our example, this vision is to bring the orchestra to a much higher level, regardless how many rehearsals and performances are needed. In the next phase, all environmental preparations have to be made, providing policies and procedures to agree on methods and systems, delegating responsibilities, etc. From a leadership perspective, it is all about aligning people, communicating the direction by words and deeds to all those whose cooperation may be needed, influencing the creation of teams and coalitions that understand the vision, finally, to act in concert. During project execution, a project manager has mainly to control and monitor the progress. He has to identify deviations and consequently plans and organizes to solve these problems. Leadership here means keeping people energized and motivated, regardless the political, bureaucratic and resource barriers which might arise. For example, challenging pieces have the potential to encourage the musicians, and the good conductor is able to leverage this potential without creating an atmosphere of pressure and punishment. Project management trainings, approaches, tools and methods I have experienced mainly focus on this left side of this table, the management side. And also changes in projects are managed. And as there are own approaches, own methods and tools on how to deal with changes, changes are seen as something exceptional, as a disturbing factor. In my opinion, changes are the normality. Yes, changes are necessary to steer the course of a project. I'm totally convinced that if more project leaders out there were more aware of this right side of Kotter's table, projects, even small ones, would have much higher influence on the success of an organization. Looking back, many of my own projects were made just for the draw. Within this screencast, I only scratched the surface of this topic. Covering all aspects would result in several years of research. I would like to outline that leadership isn't only relevant for those who are leading in a common organizational manner. Leadership and change management skills can help you to be more successful in many activities, starting already at the small ones. Feser, Mayol and Srinivasan evaluated in a McKinsey article in 2005 4 kinds of leadership behaviors which account for 89% of leadership effectiveness. Solving problems effectively, operating with a strong results orientation, seeking different perspectives and supporting others. These 4 behaviors include management as well as leadership skills. Knowing that this is just the tip of the iceberg, starting with that, and you will begin to lead your projects rather than just manage them.